We've got some bioactive enclosures, some naturalistic enclosures, some huge enclosures, some absolutely amazing animals, and some not so great enclosures coming up in this reptile room tour video. It's not just cool reptiles that we do have on this channel. We've also got loads of invertebrates. In here we have got another one, but none of them are out. What about over here? Oh, there we go. The Talitli cattle albipossum in, again, a fully naturalistic setup. Let's see if we can open it up without her actually bolting. There she is. She's come out and she's burrowed herself down in that back corner underneath the plant roots. Worked that one out. She's took all the soil out of there and dumped it into a water bowl. So we're going to have to get that sorted. That's a job for later on today. But again, yeah, fully naturalistic. Oop, there, look, she really burrowed herself right down there. How cool is that? But yeah, we've also got some arachnids, some invertebrates. We've got reptile rescues. We've got another reptile rescue in there. We've got a reptile rescue just down there. We've got so much to get through on this channel. But first, we recently did a YouTube story. However many people subscribed through that YouTube story, that's how many superworms we'd actually feed Hugo, our boss monitor, Savannah Monitor. There he is, just sat there. Hello, buddy. How's it going, matey? How's he going? So we're always thinking of new ways of enriching him on a feeding regime. So different ways of feeding him. Today, we're going to be dropping in this cup just straight like that. And we're going to see how he gets into it to actually get to the superworms. Now, I'm expecting him to actually tip it over and go in that way. But it's just a new way of doing it for him that's going to be slightly confusing. It's going to get his mind working. It's going to get him really active. And he went to get the tripod and look at him. He's already starting to get dead active. We'll move on to what's on top of that enclosure slightly later, but let's move over to the feed. We'll drop one just over here just to get his mind away while we drop this whole cup just there, and we'll see how he does it. We're going to get his water cleaned out while he's feeding, while he's nice and distracted. He is in feeding mode, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. He's not actually noticed that the cup's behind him. As soon as he touches it, he'll notice it. He looks like he's going to come out because I've got the tongs in my hand and he loves to tongue feed. Have you found it? He's our 2-year-old. Oh, there we go. There we go. How's he going to get into it? How's he going to do it? Oh, look, straight from the sides. He's going to tip it over. He's our 2.5-year-old, maybe even 3-year-old now, Savannah Monitor. He's just a nice Savannah Monitor. He's on that slab just there. Underneath that slab, that's where his burrow is. Fully naturalistic, with all the fully naturalistic log work and rock work, and that's just solely to deflect and absorb all the UV rays into that various environments. He can lay around on the rocks and sort of absorb some extra bits through that. And oh look, see, he's going around the other side. He's going around the other side. Oh, there we go. He's knocked it over. He's knocked it over, and he's got his whole head in there now. Look at that. He's going mad. Ha! Fun little story with Hugo just here. We actually always let him out just to have a walk around. He just sort of let him walk around, and oh, we'll get onto that in a minute. Yeah, but he went behind the enclosure. Now, there is a small little gap behind there. It's not massive, but it's a small little gap, and he can sort of wedge himself behind it. It's not comfortable for him, but he can do it quite comfortably. He had a poo behind there. This whole enclosure stack weighs nearly 2 ton. We've got near enough a ton worth of substrate in the bottom of just his enclosure there. Imagine try moving that just to get behind to clean the animal feces and joy that's behind there. We couldn't do it. We just couldn't move. You can see all these big scratches on the floor where we tried to actually move it. It just didn't work. We ended up having to get a mop pole and just attaching a sponge to the end and getting it in that way. Right, I'm going to clean your water, then we're going to move on. Say bye, everybody. Directly above him, you can see, look, he's already polished it all off. He's knocked the cup over. Directly above him, in one big enclosure, check this out. All of our channel members, all their names go onto this piece of wood just here. And if I ever do a live stream, all your names go down there if you super chat. It's absolutely amazing. We've got a couple of amazing teddies. I'm actually a bus driver by trade, and this guy was sat in lost property for nearly 2 years. I was like, thank you, that'll do me. Iggy the iguana. In this enclosure we have got, can you guess, it's Popcorn. Popcorn is, again, our 4-year-old Carl Sunglow boa constrictor. That's it. I mean, that's Buddha McButterface. You guys named him, that's Buddha McButterface. He's forever climbing around on that piece of wood up there, wedging his body down the back and just sticking his head on top of Buddha McButterface. That's it. He's in a bit of a feeding mode at the moment too. His feeding day is tomorrow, but that's basically Popcorn. He's Popcorn because of the pattern that's on the side of his body. This is his enclosure. We need to get, again, in that water bowl. They just seem to mess the water bowl up every single day. So we're going to get that sorted out with Popcorn. He's got that tube there. Now, he absolutely loves that tube. That's just there for a bit of enrichment. He can stretch through it. He can curl up in it and he can come out the holes. All the naturalistic log work. The substrate is a cocoa fibre, orchid bark and leaf litter topsoil, as you can tell. And he just loves it. It's like a sort of naturalistic sort of enrichment. He's got that little shelf over that back there. That's for just in case he wants to get a little bit closer to the heat source. He can. That's solely it. He's got a hide down there, which we made. We're actually going to be making a completely naturalistic hide for him to go into this enclosure. Because that's just a plastic tub that we covered in spray glue and then covered it in substrate. And it worked for a good year and a half. Now it's time for something a bit more permanent, something a bit more naturalistic. So we're going to be building that on this channel, showing you a free way of doing it. It's going to look absolutely amazing. If you want to see that, just make sure you subscribe. That is popcorn, boof, our Callus Versicolor boa constrictor with buttermilk butterface. I've teased you with this enclosure just here, so let's have a look at it. Can you guess what animal actually goes in here? Yes, it's a leopard gecko. No, that's not loose substrate. Yes, there she is, all the way down there, just loving life, about to come out for a little stretch under the UV light. That's all naturalistic slate work that we got from the Welsh mountains, and we use naturalistic materials a lot. One, it's free. Two, it deflects and absorbs all the UV rays, giving off different wavelengths going back out of the naturalistic materials. It gets absorbed into the naturalistic materials. And who said leopard geckos don't bask? You can see the light that's on her, the light that she's absorbing. UV light has so many benefits for nocturnal and crepuscular species. It's unreal. They just synthesize loads of different vitamins and minerals a lot easier, a lot better. I mean, if you ever do use UV lighting for your nocturnal species, here she comes, then just keep in mind, don't feed them vitamin D3 on your supplements, solely because they can get a vitamin D3 overdose and their bodies produce their own vitamin D3 when they do have UV lighting. So that's just a little something to keep in mind. We've got a load of plant work and stuff like that. We've just added in a little water dish and a food dish. She got fed last night, basically, so that's why they're in there. That's how we like to feed, because we do have some loose substrate just around the plants in various different areas. You can see that big hole there. We'll get onto that in a second. She's got hides underneath that slab just there. She's got a couple of different hides underneath there. She's got a couple of hides just down there. She uses them as her toilet, to be fair. And she's got a hide just underneath that slab just there. And inside that hole just there is, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? On the side of the enclosure, but it doesn't look pretty, but we've got a removable moist hide / lay box. We can actually physically get that out without having to go into the enclosure and without having to spray into the enclosure. She uses it every single night just to go in there and do some digging and some exploring. You got to think, she was bred, she has been bred the last couple of years, so a lay box was essential for her. That's what she's used to. She hasn't been bred this year. There's too many people breeding leopard geckos for me to do anything with them. So yeah, we've done all of our baby leopard gecko content and she's just absolutely loving life in retirement. Again, she's around about 5 years old now, there or thereabouts, fully live planted, loads of live grasses. We do have some succulents, but they don't tend to do really well, as you can tell by that dead looking one just there. If you want to see a video on how I built this enclosure, start to finish, step by step, all in one video, I'll leave it linked just up there for you. That's Millie, our female leopard gecko. And for those people that are going to moan and say it's loose substrate, let me just show you. It was expanding foam covered in tile grout. You can just see the tile grout up there. There's a few bits starting to show through now. And then while the tile grout was still wet and damp, we covered it in sand and then brushed off all the excess, so it's got that sandy texture, that sand rocks, sandstone sort of texture, and it hides the moist hide under there really well. There she is. She's coming out for a little stretch. Out you go. Hello, you coming out to say hello? Oh, hello, Millie. She loves it. The joy with having the UV light deflecting in different wavelengths, that's a naturalistic property that happens in the wild. You coming out, girl? Off to the reptile room. We've got enclosures there, we've got enclosures all the way around there, we've got enclosures there, all the way up there, down there, we've got that big one down there, we've got all them ones there, we've even got one up there. Where do we start with this one? Let's go over to here, because we've got a bit of an update coming with this one. Don't mind that little plant just there. They actually call this a turtle shell plant, just solely because of the turtle shell looking leaves. How cool is that? That's solely there because it's underneath the plant grow light. I want to utilise it because we've got plant grow lights just there shining straight down onto it, because all the lights for that enclosure are in this big rig just here. As you can tell from above, we've got the UV strip light just there. That's the zone 2 by Reptile Systems. It's the Ferguson Zone. We've got Plank Grow LED there. It's the New Dawn LED. We've got another one over there. The joy with these ones is, how can I do? You can move them right side to side and up and down, and they're on the rotating bracket. They're just absolutely amazing. Black Edition clamp lamp, just sort of supported up there, to be fair. But that's got a infrared deep heat projector. Infrared, one of them. It's got an infrared heat projector by Mega Ray just inside one of them. It's all thermostatically controlled, and it's inside this enclosure just here. How absolutely amazing does that look? But there's actually no animal in here yet. Let's open it up and so you can have a good look inside. This is a mesh screen enclosure. The full enclosure is a mesh screen enclosure, but we've just built an entire background to it. It's absolutely amazing. The video that we've done for this was absolutely beautiful. I'll point you to that towards the end. There's actually going to be a green tree python in here. We pick it up in just a few days, so make sure you subscribe to see me pick that animal up and put him in here. I can't wait to see how he adjusts to all this sort of thing. But we've got it so we aim for him to perch on there. That's where we want him to perch. So after a few days, I'm hoping that's where he does settle. I mean, he might settle on that one, he might settle down there, he might settle over there. We don't know. We literally don't know. But that's where I'm putting my money on anyway. Again, fully live planted, fully naturalistic. It's looking absolutely amazing. The cleanup crew are doing absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to get this all sorted for you. We took the mesh out of the front screen and replaced it with a big piece of glass. Granted, we've done a messy job on doing all that, but it's looking really well. I can't wait to get the green tree python. We have got an amazing name for that animal as well. I can't wait to show you. Make sure you subscribe to see that one. We did do a full video on how to build this. Again, it was step by step, all in one video, every little detail, because the way we've done the background was really unique. The way we've planted the plants in there and got them all rigged in, and everything was unique. But it took me over a month to make that video because we messed up a few times, and it just took a long time, a lot of energy, and it didn't do quite well. I'd really appreciate it if after the video you did watch that video if you are interested on how to build one of these enclosures for yourself. And like I say, it's a mesh screen enclosure, completely mesh screened, and we've just tarted it up to be a bioactive enclosure. I'll leave the video linked just up there. That one. Let's move slightly over. That one just there, she's our aggressive boa constrictor, Rosie, so we're not going to get too close because she will take a pop at us. We don't know what we're doing with her yet. Again, not so naturalistic, but she has got some log work in there to climb around on. She does enjoy the life in there. Down here, hello Diego. Hello Diego. We're going to get through these next animals a bit quick because we know this video is dragging on quite a bit. Fully naturalistic rockwork style background. It's all fake polystyrene covered in tile grout. It's about 5 years old, so it does show you how well it durates, how well it just sort of sticks sort of thing. But we covered it in tile grout and then painted it and then sealed it. It is showing signs of age there and across the back corners as well. That's Diego, the bearded dragon. Bearded dragons are often not even known as being semi-arboreal animals. So we do give him a lot of climbing space. He does often like to sit just there. That's got our Reptile Systems 25 luminaire lighting system. It's got 2 UV lamps inside it, a zone 1 and a zone 3. This is a zone 3, a Ferguson zone 3 animal. So it requires a Ferguson zone 3 UVI. We've got all of our UVI chart just up there. And basically what have we got? The 2 lamps up there. One, the zone 1 comes on first thing in the morning to replicate the sunrise. Then the zone 1 goes off, but the zone 3 comes on to replicate the natural incline of UV rays going up throughout the day. Middle of the day for an hour and a half, both of the lamps are on to recreate the natural higher UV output that they'd naturally have in the wild. Then again the same all the way down for the sunset, and he reacts really naturalistic to it, which is exactly what I wanted. It's absolutely awesome. But that is Diego, our bearded dragon. Again, he's about 6 years old now, to be fair. And that's his setup. He's been such a good boy. Let's give him a... If you didn't know, we breed our own live food. As you can tell, we're sorting out some bits just there. This is a locust. This is a bearded dragon. There you go. Boof. Thank you for being a superstar on the channel. Absolutely amazing. I absolutely love him down there. Let's move over to the top of here. We've already done the Brachypalma that's not a Brachypalma, that's now a Tilitli Catalalbipelossum curly haired tarantula. So we're not going to dwell on him too much. We're going to go straight over to this one just here. If you haven't noticed, the reason we've got them like this is, can you see these bits of cable just here? We've actually got a heat cable running the side of this enclosure just here, so that we can just, if we have an animal like this reptile rescue here, We can put it against that, and they've got a bit of a heat source. It's thermostatically controlled. Same for this one just here. What are we going to show you in here? Because this is Wish's old enclosure. Inside there is Wish. We'll get onto her next. But here you can see the little cup, the suction cup thing just there. We have actually got some morning gecko eggs in there. I'll put that back just up there. We actually removed the morning gecko eggs from the main morning gecko breeding facility, which is this one just down here. Again, we'll get over to that in a second. And we've kept the eggs up there. Why have we done that? We've got 4 eggs in one cup there. They're due to hatch virtually any day now. So we've separated them so they don't get eaten by the parents. We've still got some eggs just sat right there inside that enclosure. We can't remove them because they're not really removable, so we're not going to. We're going to let them hatch naturally. They're going to go in and hopefully hide throughout the whole enclosure. We'll show you that whole enclosure and talk a bit more about that in a bit. They're up there to be totally separated. We're going to grow them up a little bit, and we don't know what we're going to do with them. We're either going to give them away, sell them, or wait until they're a bit older so they've got a better chance of survival inside that enclosure just there. I'm sort of potentially not going to add them into that enclosure because there's already 15 in there that I know of. There could be more. There could be other babies. They could have laid eggs somewhere else. It's really heavily grown in, so they could have laid eggs somewhere else, hatched off somewhere else, and there could be more in there. I know of 15. Whether there's more or not, I don't know. This one is Wish. It's going to be hard to get a good shot of this one, but this is the naturalistic setup that we have just done. It was the last video we done on this channel, and this is what actually came about. Let's see if we can find her, because she is very, very elusive. It's took me a few attempts in the past to actually try and find her, and normally she's underneath that stick just there, which I can't really see her there at the moment. She could literally be anywhere in this enclosure, absolutely anywhere. Let's keep looking and see if I can find her. She is only a small little Chinese house gecko, but she has got an amazing story behind her. She shouldn't even be here in the UK. How did we get her? She came in as a wild stowaway, meaning basically she came in a shipment of wood from this one came in a shipment of food into a food factory in Stoke-on-Trent. Cheshire Reptile Rescue's got the phone call. Can you come and help find her? We can't find her anymore. They found her. They gave me a call because we're really good at wild stowaway animals, keeping them and stuff like that. We have to keep them, or the authorities will destroy them because they're not an actual native. They're not an threatened species in any way, shape or form. I actually can't find her. She's going to be around somewhere, but that's how camouflaged she is. She's probably in amongst all the leaves and stuff like that. What do I mean by we've got good experience with wild stowaway animals? Mushu, up there. Now, I know it's flashing. I do apologise. That's just the UV reacting to the camera. He is a Callus Versicolor. I'll move it away from the light. He's a Callus Versicolor. He's, again, a wild stowaway. He came to the UK in a shipment of wood into a big wood factory company. And again, we got the phone call. It was TM Reptiles that actually worked there. And he picked her up. He kept her. He took her home for a day and contacted us and said, can you come and collect her? The authorities want to destroy her. Here he is. We found out he's a he. He's absolutely thriving. He's been with us now for a couple of years now, and he's doing really well in that enclosure. We are going to give him a bigger enclosure, maybe one exactly the same length as that one. We don't know yet. We are going to be giving him a bigger enclosure, and yeah, that's a Callus Versicolor, a Chinese ornamental lizard, I think they're called commonly, and he just absolutely loves it there. Again, the problem with wild stowaways, both him and a few of the others we have got in the past, is getting them from their natural diet over to our captive diet, because we can't provide them the exact same food that they have in the wild, so we have to try and get them over to the food. The joy is Mushu is very greedy, and I'll put some super worms down there in his little bowl. I'll shut it up and he'll be down in a flash to get them. While we're waiting for him to do it, we'll go down into the boring setup. I call it the bore. Oh God, look at that, look at that. He's already straight down. Let's just sit and watch, because he's going to, oh, there we go. There we go, see, he loves his food, bless him. Go on, chomp, 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 chomp. Ha! That's Mushu, our Callus Versicolor. He's absolutely, look. Ha! Hello, mate. You can see he's shedding his eardrum at the moment. That's actually flicking off, so that'll be off in a few seconds. Down here, in this enclosure directly below, is Charlie, our super passed out yellow belly royal python. Why is this enclosure so bare and so barren? Believe it or not, this is how they're naturally kept in the wild, how they're naturally kept in captivity. Your normal Joe Blog actually does keep them just like this, with a hot side, a cold side, heat mat. This isn't going to be staying. like this. Give it a month. At the end of this month, we're picking up all the bits to rebuild him a fully naturalistic setup. He's the next one that we've got to do. Why have I left his enclosure open? I'm glad I checked that out. You hungry there, mate? Yeah, so his enclosure is the next one to get done to join up with all of our naturalistic, more bioactive zoo display style enclosures. And no longer will he have to live in this boring, barren state. Let's sort this out. I'll tell you what I've probably done wrong. I just moved the glass the wrong way, didn't I, Diego? Always check your enclosure doors are closed. So that's that one done, that's done, that's done, that's done. All of them are done over there. We've not done Mac. Mac is a pretty, again, barren sort of bear breeder style male leopard gecko. He's a breeder style. He was always our male. We didn't want to put loose substrate on with him solely because he's a male breeder. So we don't want his hemipenes to come out and then suck in loose substrate. However, he is in retirement, so that's another one, just like Charlie's enclosure, that needs to get done and will get done eventually. What's up, Rosie? You coming out, girl? Oh, I'm not getting you out. You'll bite me. You'll bite me. How are you doing today, buddy? Yeah, we've got all this to go through now. I think this is basically all, except for this one in here. Let's see if we can find one of these for you. Oh, no. Oh, there's a little sun beetle. There's another sun beetle. They're absolutely amazing. What we do with them is we actually breed the fruit beetle grubs, and they're great for feeding off to Hugo, our Savannah Monitor. We'll start off, we've got all of these ones up here. This one, full background build, nice hide, naturalistic. Believe it or not, the majority of this floor land is actually solid substance. Again, expanding foam covered in silicone with substrate on top. We have got loose substrate around the plants. There she is at the back, just there. She's our salmon pink bird-eating tarantula. A Laciadora Parabana, I think that's what they're called. I'm not 100% sure. But she burrowed out all of her hide, put it all on the front and webbed over it to secure it, and then got more stuff out and then basically dumped it on top of the grass. That's basically all she did. We did try her on UV, but she just spent the entire time hiding in her hide. So we took the UV off and we've put some little LED on, and she seems to be out and about an awful lot more now. I don't know whether that's just a coincidence or what, but that's our salmon pink bird-eating tarantula, Laciadora Parabana. This one we can't actually see because she's not in. Let's have a zoom and see if we can see. You can see that little bit of reflection. That's our Scots inverts scorpion. He basically knew, no, me and him have got a bit of revenge going on at the moment. It's just playful banter revenge. And I got him to shave his moustache off because he lost a bet live on his live stream. Then he sent me that scorpion as revenge. So I sent him a box of dubia roaches, knowing full well that his wife is actually scared of dubia roaches and she'd give him a black eye. And apparently he's got something in the pipeline to send up to me very, very soon from Creature Crate. Creature Crate is where that scorpion came from. So I am a bit scared about what's going to come with that one. This one, nothing's in there. This one, we have got an Asamani Tarantula. Now, obviously, he's not in. I can't see him. We look down the peephole, because just behind the hide, there's the entrance to the hide, we have a peephole. And you can just see the legs of the tarantula just there. Again, just a nice little setup. We are planning on redoing this setup just because it's starting to look a little bit barren. That's all it is. It's just I don't know why I like to say the word barren today. I don't know. Right, if we step on the toolbox, come up to this enclosure. Again, this one is absolutely nothing massively special. This is sort of an invertebrate sort of communal. We've just got a load of superworm beetles, mealworm beetles. There's a few cockroaches in here. There's a few some beetles. We've got the big giant African millipede in there. We've got a few other species of millipede in there. But again, they're just sort of being collected at the moment, solely because that's got a big invertebrate sort of communal setup that we're going to be building in there. And then down here, we have got, over here, our live food breeding. In there, we've got our mealworms. In there, we've got our dubia roaches. And in here, we've got our locusts. They're just what help us to basically be able to afford to feed all of these animals. We breed our own live food. We have done tons and tons and tons of videos on how to breed live food from mealworms, dubia roaches, locusts, superworms, and we've put all those videos on one big playlist. So if you want to see a playlist just sort of help you learn cheap and easy ways of breeding your own live food, making it an awful lot cheaper for you to actually afford to keep a lot of animals. I'll leave the quick playlist directly up there. Next to it, this is like sort of my pride and joy sort of setup. I absolutely love this setup and working with this species. These are morning geckos. Now, I'm not going to dwell too much on them. They're quite hard to spot, but can you see the legs and the tail end of one of them just there? Yeah, that's sort of on the back of that bromeliad leaf. Oh, what's up? Why are you jumping around? Yeah, so why do I love them so much? It's the parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is basically they don't need a male to reproduce fertile eggs. So we're forever getting eggs. As you can tell, we've got a couple of eggs just there. We've moved a couple of eggs, we've moved 4 eggs out. But can you see what I mean by they can pretty much lay eggs absolutely anywhere and I won't be able to find them because they're pretty much everywhere. When we did build this one, we did have a full waterfall sort of area. But we've put the land all the way off, and it's just we've gave them some extra places to lay some eggs, and it's just fun to interact with this setup. It really is. I enjoy it. But yeah, this is oh, there's another one. See his tail all curled up just there. You wouldn't think there was 15 in here, and we've not been able to properly see one of them yet. That's it. That's where we leave the cups for them to lay their eggs in, and they seem to lay their eggs in there quite nicely. That is our morning gecko, not just our morning gecko setup, but that is our entire reptile room tour. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please consider subscribing. Peace out, guys.